achieving and growing as a result of that which will be discussed on the program tonight. Bless both listeners and the host, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Or you were in Roseau.
Who's the greatest? Anyone can tell you it's the best. So much. This handsome Parisian lad really knows his work. Batting a bowling, he's a cricket king. No joke. 3 cheers for Captain Sobers. With no respect, spectators around this leaves. With the greatest team on earth. But the West Indies, men like Butcher, Joe Salomon, Canaya Davis, and Rosa Rodriguez, Conrad Hutton, White Gibson, the wicket keeper Hendricks. Australia, you lost the West Indies, it's lost the trophy. I say you know you lost, Australia, speak your mind. Australia, don't mind you lost. Better next time. Them Australian jokers send them crash handed to protect the batsman from all. And Charlie Griffith, I felt so sorry for Simpson. He tried but in vain. Griffith and Hall, he set to fall like rain. 3 cheers for Hall and Griffith. Voting when Australia making big Ryan. When he was facing Griffith and Hall, he so blue in fire. When only me real fast bowling, you should see him ducking. And then the very guy telling so much light, telling the one of Griffith shocking. Australia lost the West Indies, it's lost the trophy. To us, I say you know the boss. Australia, speak your mind. Australia, don't mind you lost. Better next time. From the time the series started in Jamaica, we proved that Australia was strong, but only on paper. The forecast in Barbados, they pulled the scoreboard. Rohan and Singh carry up the score. Oh Lord, 3 cheers for Nelson Tanai. Special praise.
Yes. Lobby, you've just joined us. Good night.
Good night. How was everybody?
Good. Okay, tonight we spend a little time talk about Garfield Sobers, the greatest cricketer on earth, Mouth is said. We have the guy who was there for Lobby last week. He won the race, so he should join us in studio. He won the race last Sunday. We have Ledger Williams from Jamaica talking to us about the World Cup, review the World Cup, and quickly we'll talk about the Dominica team that's leaving tomorrow to go to a tournament in Grenada. And of course, the West Indies announced their team, by the way, today for the test match which starts on Saturday against Pakistan. Right, guys, before we go, I just want to first, Dr. Fountain, one of your strongest supporters, Leroy Stevens.
Oh, yes,
passed today.
Man.
He for people who don't know, he worked at Chillingford for a long time, and he was at Whitchurch, and he died today. I spoke to Jennifer and Kendra Stevens, his daughter. Very sad because, apart from him being a strong supporter of the Workers' Party, strong supporter of sports rap, and every time, every Thursday, when I'm coming up, sometimes I see him, and he would tell me, "See, but what you're talking about tonight?" And really, really sad. And also, one that really hit me hard, that Benton Thomas, Mervyn Thomas's son, it's a guy I know from under 19, under 15, and he died today. That's 41 years of age.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Benton Thomas. Yeah, very, very sad.
That's the guy. So, yeah. And then, of course, the Mr. Macmillan.
Macmillan John Baptist, of course, at a big man, as they say in Jamaica, a big man. It was a big man in Dominica, a man who was never recognized, but he did so much for so many people. But yeah, Benton died today. Spoke to Mervyn, his father. Very, very sad. I mean, yeah, the young guy like that, young guy, is gone. He's dead. And Leroy, as I say, strong supporter of the Workers' Party.
That one now was
Leroy
shocking, yeah.
And Jennifer, good night. Kendra, good night. I know how tough it is. Lobby, you knew him, right?
Of course, I knew the guy very well. She was from Ahosi, Bresley, and I know these people like that, you know. Right. Again, Sebastian, we all have to go. It's something that is the worst thing about death is the unexpected death. That's the most touching thing.
Yeah. You knew Benton Thomas, right?
Oh yes.
Yeah, moving son. Yeah, very sad thing. Young boy like that. I mean, man. Well, as you say, those things happen.
It's something we have to be. Sibo, was Benton ill in there for some time?
No, not really. And
Is a sudden death?
Well,
was it a sudden death?
Well, he was on they were taking him to he was living in Petit Soufriere, and when he wasn't feeling well, they were taking him to Casabros, the health center, but he didn't even reach there. He collapsed before, and he probably died before he got to the health center. So is that Mikey we have with us?
Yes, Sibo, we have him, but he needs to disconnect and reconnect because neither his mic nor his video is connected, and until those are connected, he's not able to join in.
Mikey, if you're hearing us, you have to disconnect and reconnect because
he recognize that.
He probably recognize that.
So, is it Mikey Finley?
Yes, because we're going to spend a little time to talk about Sir Garfield Sobers, guys. This was a world figure, a powerful man in the world, a man like the Mighty Sparrow who made people happy for decades. And you know, Lobby, as I said, when we grew up, you grew up, all you heard about was Sir Garfield Sobers, right? When you heard about West Indies Cricket, it was Sobers. Everybody wanted to be like Sobers. I mean, people like Richards came after and Lara, but in the days, it was Garfield Sobers.
And don't forget, Sibo, at the time, he had a lot of quality players around him, yeah?
Well, West Indies, nobody, I mean, when you think of the team he played with, I mean, you had people like Simon Dus, Rohan Kanai, even before these guys, Frank Worrell, Everton Wicks, Clyde Walcott, all these guys, I mean, Sobers played. In fact, at one time, Barbados had maybe 9 or 10 men. They could fill the entire West Indies team.
Until they tried.
Yeah, when they tried and they lost, yeah. You had Holland, Griffith.
Remember, Sibo, Gibbs had his best bowling at that time. He did the best, you know.
Right, I think we have Mikey. Do we have him now? Not yet? Right. Do we have him? So I think we have with us on the line Michael Finley. Mikey, good night. Are you hearing us? Mikey, are you hearing us? Mikey? We're not hearing you. I don't know if there's a problem with his line. Yeah, we trying to connect with Mikey. Mikey is a man who played with Gary Sobers. He was in the same dressing room with him.
His mic is muted as well.
Mikey, your mic is muted. Mikey. He's not hearing us. But Dr. Fountain, you would have obviously, when you grew up, heard about Sir Garfield Sobers, obviously.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I mean, he was quite a remarkable, cricketer. But Sobers is the interesting thing. Understand? I mean, he started batting at number 8.
8-9, you were the left-hand spinner.
Batting at number 8. But I think Sibo, we talk about his record against Pakistan of 365 not out.
57 years, right?
Yes, but I think the most spectacular knock in all of his career, and that is, you can correct me if I'm right, but the 254
in the rest of the world
against the rest of the world against Australia.
Well, I saw that.
I think was the one that really, yes.
Even Sir Don Bradman, most people felt was probably arguably the greatest batsman, said that is the best inning he had ever seen.
Yes.
That inning. In fact, Ian Chappell, who was from the same state like Sir Don Bradman, so of Australia, said that was the best battle he ever saw.
Yes,
He
in
said,
fact, yeah, I heard
Ian
John
Chappell,
Bradman commenting on that,
Yeah.
on this particular
Mm.
innings of
Mhm.
Sobers, and he was that he had no words to describe, the brilliance of this. So yeah, so that 254 not out, I think, was the one that really did it.
Well, Mike Finley said he's addressing the matter. He's trying to get connected with us because Mike, you'd have been. Yes, Lobby.
Yes, I just want something about Sir Garfield Sebastian. First of all, right there, 1965 or 67, when he came to Dominica to do a workshop for us, I was fortunate to have attended that workshop with Sobers. I took on cricket serious, But then I saw Sobers, first person I saw batting out of his crease, right? And that was, batting out of his crease. Look at him, and he had good words for us. And one of the thing I remembered was this innings in the Gardens when Zaidi hit that ball, and Sobers caught the ball and just put it under his shirt. We all were wondering where the ball went.
No, he was just a Superman.
But
we have hold on. Let's take a caller. We have a caller. Let's take the caller. Good evening.
Yes, good evening, Sibo. Good evening, Doc, and good evening to Lobby. I was just about commenting on the 254. Sri Lanka was host some get together, whatever, for Garfield, and someone asked him about betting weather, and he said the same thing you said, that John Bradman felt that 254 was his best inning, but Sobers said for him his best inning was in England when he scored, I think, 130 something, and Holford scored 105, 109. Yeah, because he said he rates playing for his country more important than playing for other matches. And that 254 was for a state team.
The rest of the world.
And he said when he scored the 254, because prior to that, he failed twice against, what's his name, Lilly.
Dennis Lilly, yeah.
And he said Lilly was the first person on field started the applause, and Lilly came to him and tell him, I heard about you, and tonight I really got my A cut. Tonight, today, I really got my A cut. And then he felt that one of this was his best. But one of these one of the Sri Lankan greats when Sobers was coach, came and say he was getting problem with Hadley, and Sobers tell him to bat a foot from the crease. So he said, but if I bat a foot from the crease, I will be closer to him. Sobers tell him, no, in that way you're going to negate the swing that he's getting. So Garfield was really a great cricketer indeed, and we really lose an icon. Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, it's a world figure. But we have another caller. Good evening.
Hello, Sibo. Good evening.
How are you, lady?
Good evening, Dr. Fountain. Good evening, Lobla.
Good evening.
Sibo, as you're talking about Sir Garfield Sobers, to show how humble this man was, you can remember, you will remember when Lara, was edging to that 365. When he went to the park to see Lara make that 365, and he congratulated Lara.
Well, I was right there. I was right there.
To show you how humble he was.
No, the guy was just a special human being. Special. That's the good thing about him. Forget about him as a cricketer. He was just a special man. I mean, a special human being. Do we have Mikey now? Do we have him? Still having difficulty in joining you? Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
Hold on, Lobby, there. We're trying to get Michael Finley. We're having difficulty in connecting with him.
Yep, I realized that.
Yeah, there seems to be a problem. We don't know what's the problem.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I can go ahead?
Yeah, go ahead then.
Yes, I heard
Hold on, hold on. Let's try now. Hold on. Mikey, are you there? Mikey, can you hear us? No, we're still not hearing him. Go ahead, Lobby.
But he had this interview, and and questioning, talking about his career. And one thing that was so, profound about Sobers, he said that when he went to bat, he batted for the people of the Caribbean and Barbados. He never thought about himself. And also, when he went to bat very long. He never wanted to throw his hand. you know. And he said, you know, nowadays, you know, and he said, I remember talking to him in Australia at a function. And that time, remember, Adams was called Paddington. He said, he told us this thing about, that's the waste of time. How a man could be using his pad? He has his bat. And this is just to stop.
Hold on, we have another caller. Let's take the caller. Good evening. Yeah.
I listened to Sibo's interview. You know, he say he had a football more than cricket.
Well, he was a goalkeeper. Eh? Garfield Sobers was a goalkeeper.
The reason why he said that, he said, well, when you play cricket, you can feel how you feel, but sometimes when you go and bat, you don't touch a ball. But when you're on the football field, you must get touch a ball or you will get a kick.
He was a goalkeeper and well, he's a brilliant golfer as well. A top-class golfer. Top-class.
Yeah, he's a little better than him.
Yeah, thank you. We're still trying to get in touch with Michael Finley, who played with Garfield Sobers, who was in the same dressing room with him. Yeah. We have, yes. Hello, good evening.
Gentlemen.
Good evening, yes.
Sibo, you said something there, and all is a consensus. All people that talk about him, they say he had great humility. He always esteemed people higher than him. He had great humility. The other time I was calling him genius, and he said he don't know about that. You know, and after we talk about the healing, the 254, there was comparing him with Graham Pollock at that time. And as Sir Bradman said, that is the best healing we ever seen in Australia. Not only Bradman said that, but Ian Chappell said that, and Greg Chappell said that. He was phenomenon, man, you know, and
he was a special human being. Yeah. Yeah, you know, Dr. Funke-Lobi, I remember, well, going to Barbados every summer with a Dominican school team for over 10 years. And on a few occasions, he invited a few of the managers from different teams at his home in Highgate, that's close to Banks around there. And, you know, you at his home and he's enjoying himself, make you feel happy. It was no big thing for him, and he would interact with everybody. And, you know, he wasn't shy of a drink, as you know. Sir Gary wasn't shy of a drink. And, you know, and such a good time we used to have. I mean, sometimes we live there in the morning, early morning, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning from about 7. Yeah, he would invite people, and the guy was just such a guy. In fact, I remember he and Sir Everton were very close. We have a caller. Let's take the caller. Good evening.
Yeah, sure.
Yes.
In an interview, his father got born during the war. He was 5 years old. And on lady boat. That lady boat get born right in Central Shahada there. I don't know how to get that scores already. But 2 Dominican dead on that boat. Thomas Baptist's father, Pedro Baptist, and a man called Julie. Pedro was a cook, Julie was a steward. You see his father dead, and that boat his father was a sailor. At 5 years, when he started to get born.
Thank you. We have another caller. Good evening.
Hello.
Ozzy, yes. Ozzy, nice to hear you. Nice. How are you? You okay?
I'm okay, very okay. It's all right.
Right. Ozzy, Ozzy, I know you were a Sobers man. You're obviously a sports rap man. And we couldn't leave here tonight without hearing you speak about Sir Garfield Sobers. So tell people how you like to remember Sir Garfield Sobers.
Well,
I
grew up in the 40s, you were another spring chicken. So I know Sobers since I'm a boy growing up. And I admire this guy to the point I've almost worshipped him by his mere feats and so on. I can say so about Test cricket, as you know, in 1954.
Ozzy, turn off your radio. You listen to your radio. Don't listen to your radio.
No, not listening to the radio.
Okay, because I'm hearing your radio in the background. But go ahead. Just go ahead. Just speak. Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So I was saying that...
I'm still hearing your radio in the background. Turn it off. Just speak. Speak. Yeah.
Just a minute.
Yeah. Turn it down a bit. Just speak. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, go ahead now. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I was saying, I remember Garfield Sobers from, I was a little boy in the 40s, 50s. And, of course, Sobers began playing serious cricket, test cricket, that is. Now, he played, first of all, as a left-arm spinner, orthodox left-arm spinner. He replaced Alfred and Valentine, these great guys. Valentine could not play the fifth and final test against England in 54. So Gary Sobers was drafted to come to South to play his first test. And he batted at number 9. Although he's a youthful batsman, replacing a bowler, and they had him at number 9. I remember Gary scoring something like 14 and I think 26. One innings was not, I can't remember which one, but he got 14 and 26, and he showed glimpses of his bat. But when it came to bowl, I think he got about 3 or 4 wickets. Trevor Bailey and a couple other guys. 54. So Sobers made his mark. That was 55. Came down to the Caribbean with Linwall and Miller. Played the first test, I don't know what. He played the second. And Sobers, I think he was by that time in the middle order, about number 6. And one of the innings he had was made to open the batting. I think maybe the second test or third test he played. He opened the batting against Linwall and Miller. These were fearsome, fast bowlers from Australia in those days. And Sobers cracked. He said afterwards that he was sent to open, and he just went and he just felt it. See red, just fired the bat at red. So he said, but of course, it was an innings which is, again, showed his real class. Right?
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
So Sobers was 6 or 7, and next tour, I don't know if he went to New Zealand. He might have gone to the tour in New Zealand, but then he went to England in 57, and on that tour he had Corley Smith with him on that tour. Remember Corley Smith who died?
Yeah, in the accident. Yeah.
Accident. Sobers was driving, and it affected Sobers. It almost ruined his career. He was driving with Tom Dewdney, a Jamaican fast bowler, and Corley Smith. And Corley Smith died. And Corley Smith was just about 58, that was. But in 57, Corley Smith had scored 2 huge centuries against England, 161 and 168, and really was going. At that point, Corley was above Sobers in terms of progression moving up. Then Corley Smith fell victim of that accident in 58 and died. And Sobers said he had to play now in the future for both himself and for Corley Smith. He said so many times. But I'll never forget that accident. Sobers was distraught. It almost ruined him. He was drinking and everything. But somehow, I guess he got a lot of counseling and he got back. And then Sobers went on. A few months after, in 58 now, when Pakistan came down to the Caribbean, Sobers played at number 3. So here was Gary, who by number 9, just a couple of years later, playing his first test against Pakistan in 1958, and he was batting at number 3. And Sobers scored a magnificent 365 not out. He and Hunt, I think Hunt was run out for 260, I remember it well.
Correct, 260.
790 for 3. And were forced to declare because when Gary hit the 365th run, a minor crowd invaded the field and refused to move on. And they had to declare by all means. But the score was already 790. So the captain, Jerry Alexander, declared. But Sobers was only 21 then. So his first test century was his record-breaking century, breaking Len Hurd of 364, which record which Len Hedman scored that in 1938. So Sobers broke the record 20 years later in 1958, which record he kept, as you know, till 1974, when Lara broke his record.
You mean 1994, you mean?
Sorry, 1994.
Oh, yeah.
It was 38 years. Sobers had the record for 38 years. Right. And, well, Sobers had so many other great feats. And then 1960, Sligo was the famous
Tide Test in Australia, right?
Test match.
Yeah, in Australia. Yeah.
That was probably one of the greatest series ever played in the history of Test cricket, with Benno and Sir Frank Worrell, two play aggressive cricket, and that was one of the best series ever. And I remember Gary Sobers scoring 124, 132 in the first Test. He and scored, I think Kanai might have scored a century as well. The one match Kanai scored a century, twin centuries. But Sobers had a brilliant century in the very first Test. And then Sobers was 61. Then they got him to stay in Australia to come back, and he played for New South Wales. Sorry, South Australia.
South Australia, that's where he played for years. Yeah, South Australia.
Bradman was the one. He and Chappell.
Ian Chappell, right? Ian Chappell, yeah.
Got Sobers to play for South Australia, and around that time there was South Africa was banned for the apartheid policies, and the rest of the world, which Sobers was made captain of, had to play against England and against Australia. These two series were two of the greatest series, although it's not going on as Test cricket, but the rest of the world, captained by Sobers against England. And I think the rest of the world won by 4-1 or something. And then they went to Australia the following year, and 254 in a match.
One of the greatest innings of all time, that
and
254.
Don Bradman, who gave commentary on that thing, said the greatest innings I've ever seen. And you know who Don Bradman is?
Yeah, well, most
Don
people
Bradman
arguably the greatest batsman of all time. Arguably.
Greatest batsman of all time.
But an
no matter
Aussie,
how you look at it,
Ian Chappell, who was from the same state.
Said, innings he has ever seen. 254 Sobers made. And this is Sobers, a lot of flair and a huge back swing. And he had power, he had grace, elegance, and panache, what you want to call it. So Sobers was just something exceptional. And then you know about his feat style, 6 sixes in 1 over, being the first to do it in 50.
In fact, Ozzy, I want you to listen to this. To me, that was the best tribute I heard in all, because you know, what's his name? Ravi Shastri and what's his name? And Mike Atherton was speaking about Sagara. I don't want you to listen to what they said. Just listen a bit.
Ravi Shastri and Michael Atherton alongside me. How should we remember Sagari? Is it the numbers, the stylish way he played, his all-round ability, his love of horse racing, or the aura of the man? He stood shoulder to shoulder with giants in world sport.
I love the Calypsonian Mighty Sparrow, the greatest cricketer on Earth or Mars. I think people who saw him play, there was this otherworldly quality about his cricket. He could do everything better than everybody else. His batting was touched by genius, rapid in-swingers, orthodox left-arm spin, wrist spin, great close catcher, and not only was he the best, he looked the best. You know, shirt unbuttoned down to the navel, collar up, a fantastic cricketer.
You've got some great stories about Sagari.
You know, just because of what Michael said, he got bored, and he would tell us that. He got bored after a while, and he thought of ways how to challenge himself. And that's why when you hear Tony Cozier speak at times, he says he's seen him at all hours of the night. You know, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, coming back to the hotel or to the ground. One story at the CCI in Bombay, India were playing against the West Indies. He and Lloydie had a big one, right? And he walked to the ground in the morning, put on his pads, slept in the dressing room before the team game, went out to bat when a wicket fell, smashed about 70 not out, and was at the races at 2 o'clock because he knew that was Derby Day, and he won the Derby.
So, Ozzy, you heard that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. You know, I remember in 82, when we split, Win was from the Combined Islands, Win was and Leewards. As you know, Wes Hall was the coach of the Windward Islands.
Yes.
So he said in 66, remember, Sobers was the captain and Worrell was the manager. Worrell had retired. Yes. And he said, I think it was at Nottingham or Lord, I can't remember which one. Sobers was batting overnight and about 6 or 7 runs overnight. And as you just heard Mike Atherton said, and Shastri, he would be all hours of the night drinking or whatever. So Wes Hall in those days, not like now, guys shared rooms. So I think he shared room with Wes Hall, even if he was the captain, because they were close. So apparently, Sir Frank came by, as usual, the manager came looking for Sobers about 8, 9 in the evening. And he couldn't find Sobers and was asking Hall. Hall said he doesn't know and so on. So Sobers must have come home next morning about 6. So Wes Hall said to him, man, all night the manager trying to find you. So he said to Hall, he will see the manager at the close of play. He went on to score 166. Now, what can you tell a player like that? Even if he was out all night, he scored 166. What can you, what can you say to him? I mean, he was just a special guy. I mean, in fact, he was born to play cricket. God made people like him and Richards and Lara to play cricket. Tendulkar, because this guy did things the normal player couldn't do, right? Yeah. And you know,
made a special effort in Cebu in 68.
Right.
To go to Barbados to see Sobers in a test match, you know.
You know, I never really saw him play. I mean,
first time I saw him play was in 1968. I was then 26 years old. I said I have to see West Indies play in England, in Barbados, Kensington. So I went. I had to see him. Man, when this man came out, the applause he got and the uproar from the crowd, man, when he came out, he has to walk out. Yeah, about him, you know, when he moved his collars up, the bow-legged, I think, and the way he moved, his head tilted forward a bit. Some other something else.
Ozzy, hold on a while. Let me see. We're trying to get Michael Finney. Mikey, are you there?
Yes.
Well, I'm hearing you, Sibo, but you don't seem to be hearing me.
We're not, okay. Ozzy, Mikey, Ozzy wasn't there now. Ozzy there?
I heard Ozzy, yes. I heard
Ozzy.
Ozzy.
Okay. Ozzy, Loblack, Dr. From Mike Finley, I played with Sir Garfield Sobers. He was in the dressing room with him. He kept looking at him. Mikey, as a person who was up close with Sir Gary, tell listeners, people are listening to you, tell listeners about Sir Garfield Sobers, please.
Well, clearly he was the greatest all-rounder ever to have played the game as far as I'm concerned. My first contact physically with Sir Garfield was on that tour of Australia in 1968, Australia, New Zealand, 68, 69. And I saw the impressive thing about that is that in the state match against Western Australia, the opening match of the tour, Sir Gary made 100 against Western Australia. It was a fantastic innings. I'd never seen him play before. We saw clips of him on TV and on cinema screens and so on. But this is my first time seeing the man play physically. Sibo, he made 132 runs with 25 fours and in a time of 113 minutes. But listen to this. Tony Locke, that left-arm leg spinner for England, right, was bowling to him. And he hit Tony Locke through the covers for a 4. Locke brought somebody from the onside and plugged the gap. And the very next ball, Gary stroked the ball between those two men. Not a sole move. All they did was rush the ball to the boundary. That was a fantastic shot, I thought, because it showed me that he could command whatever he wanted to do when he was batting. As far as his bowling is concerned, well, he bowled fast and he moved the ball quite well. He bowled orthodox left and wrist spin left, and he was a fantastic fielder in the slips, especially at leg slip. So I was close up to him in matches that I played. Of course, the first test I played with him was in England in 1969.
Right.
He didn't make very many runs in that match, but that was the match that he had that run-out incident with Charlie Davis.
Charlie Davis, who died recently, right?
Yeah, that's right. Charlie died recently. He was something else. He was another character.
But Mikey, you said he bowled fast. Some people reckon at certain time he bowled as fast as Holland Griffith. Is that true?
But I don't think so.
Right.
I don't think so.
But he swung the ball. He swung it big time from off to leg, right?
That's right. He swung it more than Hall and Griffith. But Hall and Griffith were much, much faster than he was. But he had good control. He had excellent control, you know. And he can pick the weaknesses in batsmen very early. And he did that throughout his career. He did that. When you're looking at Sobers in terms of world sports, he is on line with Pele, Muhammad Ali, and those fellas in terms of their global performances. You know, you only have one of those fellas coming through every century or so.
All right.
He had a great innings in terms of his life. As everybody is saying, he was quite humble. He never allowed his success and the awards he received. The man was a hero. Up to before he died, he was the living hero in Barbados.
Correct.
That's a big honor. That's the biggest honor any country could bestow on you. But it never changed the guy, Sir Gary, or hero Sir Gary, as an ordinary down-to-earth person who would sit with you and talk cricket and so on and so forth. And he was a fantastic...
You know, Mikey, what I'm interested in, I mean, you and I, we played for the Cameroon, Viv and so on. Viv in the dressing room before he went to bat was a guy looking restless and everything. What kind of person was he before he went out to bat? Let's say he's batting at number 5 and watching. Did he watch cricket before he went out to bat?
Oh, yeah, he watched the game, but he was quiet, he was calm. I suppose he was concentrating. You never saw a difference in terms of what the state of the game had on him, because he looked like anybody else. He watched the game. He was ready, and when the man was out, he got up and he went out. He walked with the same flash to the wicket, and he never showed that he
was afraid.
Allowed the situation to. In 1972 in Barbados, Sibo, in that match against New Zealand.
Charlie Davis again, right?
You remember when we were struggling?
Yes, and they had a big partnership,
That's right, we were struggling. And when I went to join him at the crease, I said to him, Skip, I'll hold here for you. And
what did he say to you?
No, he didn't say anything. He just, he said, we just went on. And after a while, I think he figured that all was lost in terms of making a big score. So he got out, and I continued on. But he inspired you. He inspired you. You played with him. In fact, people ask me, how did you feel playing with Gary Sobers? Well, see, but the first thing is that you're on a team, and you play with a lot of greats at that time, and you are aware of that. You're very conscious that you're playing with some top players of the world. But by the time you enter the field, that doesn't occupy your mind anymore, because you're concentrating then on the game that you are going to play. You see? So recognizing that you had the greatest player in the world playing alongside you, fielding next to you behind the stumps, you're totally conscious of that. And that inspired you. You're saying, boy, Sobers is right next to me here at leg slip or in the slip. I can't make a mistake. And that inspired you. That inspired you. That he was a fantastic individual.
But Mikey, was he a guy, who would, let's say, people dropping catches, who would get up? There's some captains that get upset and shout and that sort of thing.
Not at all. Not at all. You dropped a catch, and we just went on playing. In fact, in those days, we didn't show much emotions on the field. I see these days that players are running and hugging and doing all sorts of fancy things. But all we did, we celebrated. How's that? And we lifted our hands, and the umpire gave the decision, and we went on. We never allowed all the gimmicks of the game to affect us. We internally considered what they said. For example, on that 1973 tour of England, when Tony Greig said he'll make us grovel, you never heard anybody made any comments about Tony Greig. he said it, it annoyed us, and we did it by playing the game, and we whopped them severely. I suppose when Viv made that 200 and odd runs,
291.
He was thinking of that. In fact, just before he got out, the break before he got out, I went up to Viv. I said, Viv, you can break Sir Gary's record now. Nobody could get you out. But I think Viv records didn't bother Viv at all.
Well, that's the thing with Sir Richards. He never really worried about the thing.
No, he never. But because he went back out and he continued batting, and it looked like nobody could out him. And all of a sudden, he just virtually gave his hand away. But that was a big score. That was a massive score, and that is how in those days we applied our cricket. We never allowed the comments from people, from either reporters or captains or whoever, to affect us that much that it impacted on our cricket.
Mikey, hold on a while. Ozzy, I heard you say on another radio station, Sobers wasn't the best of captain. So I want to hear from you, and then I'll let Mikey listen to what you said, and he can respond. Ozzy.
Well, yes, that's one major blunder, I would think, widely. It was, in fact, when he declared in that Port of Spain test match, allowed England to win. In the end, quite comfortably, they won by 7 or 8 wickets. He declared, and I think they gave England just about 200 to do, which they did quite comfortably. He was widely criticized for that. But Sobers' defense was that he plays attacking cricket, and there were draws before that. So he's not a man who likes to play just. So his whole thing was that attacking nature, and try to see he could force a victory. I believe Basil Butcher had taken some wickets going leg spin in that match, and he thought Butcher could repeat it. And I think Charlie match, probably people say Charlie faked an injury and he didn't want to bowl or something, and he wasn't in cahoots with Sobers for declaring. But as you know, so that test match is what
that was in Trinidad, right? That was in Trinidad, right?
Port of Spain.
Yeah.
And England won very comfortably, and Sobers was widely criticized for that. Apart from that, I don't think there was any major, because his record, I think, as a captain, he played in test matches. I'm not sure of his record in terms of series victories. But I don't think it was a bad record, but I think that test match where he declared and allowed England to win comfortably in the end, that's what a lot of people sort of were very mad. You remember it? So
yeah.
So in 1968.
But Mikey, okay, you just said Ozzy. What do you think of Gary Sobers as the man, as a captain? You played with him. Let's hear from you, Mikey.
Yeah, I agree with Ozzy that he was not the best captain in the world. Because of his superior ability, he assumed that everybody on the team was of that ability. And so that declaration in Trinidad in 1968 was on the assumption that Griffith and Hall and the others would match their reputation and walk over England. It didn't happen because he lost a fast bowler and things didn't work out as he planned. The thing is that because of his superior ability, he would make moves that if the players lived up to their reputation, they would win. But that doesn't always happen. He didn't consider all the impacts that the human nature would have on the players. He just assumed that, okay, we are playing cricket. We are the best team in the world. So any move I make would pay off. And that happened at one time. At one time when the players were at the peak, any move, anybody could have captained the West Indies team because you brought on Hall, he got wickets. You brought on Griffith, he got wickets. Sobers, Kanai, Butcher, or Nurse, they would make runs. But when that talent began to fade, as happened in 1968 in Australia, then it needed somebody with the quality of a Frank Worrell leadership who understood cricket extremely well and who was able to put into effect plans to counter the deficiencies in the West Indies team. Sobers couldn't do that because he was not that type. He was an attacking player, and he believed in that style of play. And if the people around him couldn't live up to that, then the team fell down. But it wasn't because that he was not a great player. It's just that all great players don't make great captains. Sobers was not the best captain in the world. So Frank Waller was a superior captain in world cricket, but he was not the best individual cricketer in the world. And that happens. That's how cricket is. That's how human nature is.
But also, Mike, you remember how Sobers, his career ended? Because you remember when it was in 73, apparently he was told he had to go for a fitness test. You remember that? And I think that caused problem even after he retired with Clyde Walcott, who was chairman of selected at the time. And Sobers felt that a man of his stature, he said to the board he was fit, he felt he was fit, and they refused to select him. You remember that, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I after that, the dividers that he and Sir Clyde were never really close. I mean, he and Everton Weeks, I can tell you, from going to Barbados for about 10 years with the school team, they were always together. He and Sir Everton Weeks, very, very close. But I don't think he was a fan of Clyde Walcott at all, because he felt that he should not have had to go through this fitness test. He felt so.
Well, it is natural. It is natural, Lockhart, for him to feel that way. Here you are, the greatest cricketer in the world, and you're playing for your home team, and there's a question of your fitness. In the first case, I imagine that they would have got a doctor to look at him before considering the situation. That should have happened. They should have got a doctor's opinion and then speak to Gary. And if Gary said, "Look, guys, I think I'm fit enough," then they'll give him the chance, because he will know his fitness. He has proven before, time and time again, that he can deliver. So why on this occasion do you want to deny him the chance to deliver when he said he could? I thought they could have given him the chance to prove his fitness.
You know something I found strange, Ozzy and Mikey? The next Wednesday at 10 o'clock at Kensington, Sir Gary will be buried. But there's a test match next week Wednesday, 10 o'clock, Kensington Oval. But the test match is starting on Saturday. If the test match goes all 5 days, there'll be test cricket on Wednesday. So I don't understand, what is really going on? Because you're telling me, let's say, next week Wednesday, West Indies and Pakistan are playing Trinidad, and the greatest cricketer, probably whoever lived, will be buried, a national hero. The whole world will be watching. And I don't understand that one at all.
No, they should have. Obviously, the fixtures were done before Sir Gary.
Right.
But I thought, given the nature of the situation, that both Pakistan, West Indies, and the ICC could have compromised.
Exactly.
And said, look, this is the greatest cricketer in the world. And in his honor, let's change the fixture so it doesn't clash with his because clearly somebody like the West Indies captain should be at his funeral. The West Indies board should send somebody to represent the West Indies, and the best person would be the captain of the West Indies team. Apart from the fact that the president of the Cricket West Indies would be there, I thought it would be a great honor and I'm sure that the captain of the West Indies team would be greatly honored to attend Sir Gary's funeral. So I think the Cricket West Indies clearly made a blunder. Not that they could blame them for the schedule, because it happened before he died, but clearly that death of Sir Gary and the what he meant to West Indies cricket should overshadow everything else, and there should be consideration that let us postpone this test match or this day's play for the funeral. I agree that
because when I heard that, I said, but these people don't know. Somebody made a blunder. Something could have been done to accommodate that. I mean, obviously the whole world will be watching that. I'm sure it will be beamed around the world. All sorts of dignitaries from all over the place will be coming, and I don't understand.
It reflects badly on West Indies cricket.
It definitely does.
I can't believe that is occurring. I can't believe that.
Next Wednesday at 10 o'clock at Kensington Oval. That's the day of the funeral. And that's the 5th day of the test match, which starts on Saturday between West Indies and Pakistan, which makes no sense at all.
Well, they hope the match will end in 4 days.
Hi, Sibo.
Yeah, Lobby, go ahead, Lobby.
Yes, I'm just listening to you all in terms of the funeral. Yes, there must be some compromising. I heard you said about the captain. I think the entire West Indies team, some arrangement made for even Friday. I think instead of Wednesday, they could bury him on the Friday. Yes, the body, yes, about West Indies, Pakistan, but knowing that this test match, all right, was scheduled already, the service could have been moved to Friday. So here you have, first of all, I think the West Indies team players, as many players, as active players as possible, should attend that funeral.
Well, probably what could have been done, they could have scheduled the funeral after, let's say, Thursday or Friday. I mean, as you said, Mikey, the fixtures were done long time. We knew when the test match was on. So something should have been done to put the funeral on Thursday, Friday, instead of having the two clashing. I mean, that doesn't sound good at all, honestly.
Oh no, certainly not. That doesn't sound good at all.
Yeah, it's really. One other thing before we close this thing, Mikey and Ozzy, a lot of people say, I mean, you hear talk now about some people try to compare because of Jack Callis's statistics. So people say he probably, but the way Sobers played compared to what people like Callis, people like Sobers didn't play for records. They played for their team. And Sobers played a brand of cricket that made people happy. I mean, you go and watch Jack Callis, he probably scored 200, but it probably might take 2 days. Gary Sobers never really played like that, Mikey, Ozzy.
That's right. You're correct. That's right.
He had to entertain, He said so, His main aim is to entertain the fans, He didn't play for records or anything, So that's plays now. So watching a century from Sobers and a century from Callis, chalk and cheese.
Yes, you're right. But
don't forget that West Indians brought a special flair to cricket even back in the 1920s when they first entered Test cricket. They brought a special flair. It was a fantastic flair. They brought joy. No matter where you were from, once the West Indies were playing, you wanted to see them play because in their bowling, in their fielding, in their batting, it was a special flair. Look at that run out in Australia in the first tight test. It was a fantastic thing. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That was fantastic. And they brought flair in batting when Kanai swept on his bottom. I mean, that was something else. Seeing Westfall run up to bowl is another. You can pinpoint any of these fantastic players we've had. And
Mikey, there's a question I want to ask you before we close. You're a guy I know never drank, never guy. When you played, you would be the first in your room. That I would know. I played as a youngster with people like you. I mean, but Gary Sobers was a completely different guy, right? This is a guy, as Mike Atherton said, would be all night, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, all over the place. How did you players who played with him, how did you all look at that? I mean, yeah.
Well, the thing is, when you have a player like Gary's caliber, once he performs the next day, that's what's important to the team, and he always did. I mean, if he had not been performing, and nobody could tell you that I was with Gary Sobers at 3 o'clock one morning before. I haven't heard anybody come out and say they were with Gary. We hear reports that Gary. We know he used to go out and have fun and so on. But the man was fit. The man could take on a night match, if you want to call it that, and come the next day and play well enough in the real cricket. I don't know how he made it. You and I were normal human beings. He was not a normal human being. He had a special gift from God.
True.
And that is what took him around the world. But before I go, Sibo, hello to Ozzy, I haven't seen you for ages, and all my friends in Dominica who I haven't seen for a long time. I wish you long life and good health, and I hope that you're fine. I always ask more about you guys.
Yeah, well, yeah. I always tell you though, Ozzy's okay, and Avis,
Yes.
and Avis, you always ask about Avis.
Avis too. I heard Avis
When
earlier.
you and I go back
Yes.
from 1960 when we put our inter-school tournament, to the age of the good Frank Mason, man. This is the man who cultivated your style. I remember very well. Great F.O. Mason, you know.
Yes.
Good to hear you, Mike Finley, man.
Right. So, gentlemen, on that note, I want to say thank you to both of you all. And Mikey, as usual, we'll keep in touch. It was very nice joining us. Ozzy, thank you very much. Go and get some rest, Ozzy. Go and get some rest.
Yeah,
Thank
okay,
you.
man. Good.
All right.
Actually, well, all the best.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thank you. So we'll take our first break
All right,
now.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Or you, where in Roseau, key matter is you can just walk in and order all your chicken parts, wholesale, and even enjoy retail. It's at AC Shillingford, all chicken parts available that you can afford fresh breast. And you know breast is best. Shillingford wings have muscle. After you eat it, you can fly. As for Shillingford chicken drumsticks, even swinging stars just order drumsticks from Shillingford. And for those of you who love full, AC Shillingford keeps your belly full. Buy your chicken wholesale at AC Shillingford. From wings to thighs to drums to breasts to backs to necks. It's available. It's always available and it's affordable. Plus you've got pork feet, ham and turkey, bull foot, chicken nuggets, pepperoni, all those right seasonings to make your kitchen keep on ticking. Buy your wholesale chicken at AC Shillingford. When you think of chicken, think of AC Shillingford. Always ready.
The economic fabric Dominica revolves at AC Shillingford and Company. For timeless, trusted, dependable, comprehensive insurance coverage, it has to be New India Insurance. Need anything overseas? Shopbox Dominica and Isle of Freight is your advance on-time delivery right to your doorstep. For super savings on all your groceries, come to ACS Super Shopping Center for laundry, groceries, cooking, beverages, and event supplies on King Jonathan Street. ACS 7-Eleven on High Street supplying your everyday essentials. Fill up your vehicle gas tanks, get your cooking gas, and top-ups of all kinds. Or go to 7-Eleven Portersville, where the best-kept secret is conveniently located upstairs in the confidential escape or staycation self-contained accommodations at the Porter's Place. AC Shillingford, where you spend less and get more.
You want the leg, you do. Shop at SDA. Better than the rest. Go shop at SDA. And the husband wear shop at SDA. You get more for life. Shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. Yeah, shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. What is that? Shop at SDA. Yes, family, customer friendly. With free locations, it's so convenient. And our price is Madam, that's where you belong. Oh, tell your mama, tell your papa, shop at SDA. Tell your son and your daughter, shop at SDA. Auntie, nan, and cousin, friend, open power, all of them. Grandma, grandpa, couple, neighbor, girlfriend, boyfriend, side. What? Shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. Shop at SDA. Check us out at Portersville, High Street, and downtown Rose.
Some laundry detergents may miss the mark when it comes to adding softness to your loads. But fortunately, in Dominica, we've got Ensueno fabric softener. Ensueno is the conditioner of laundry care, making your clothes feel butterfly soft. Discover Ensueno fabric softener. Long-lasting, nature-inspired fragrances protect your fabrics. Revitalize your laundry with the refreshing scent of spring fresh Ensueno fabric softener. Makes your clothes fluffy, alive, and vibrant. Love all over Dominica. Local agents, AC Shillingford Company. Available at all supermarkets, your favorite friendly neighborhood outlet, or shop. Use Ensueno.
Looking for a quiet, relaxing place to stay? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Leaving the office late and need somewhere close to town? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Have business clients coming in and need accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Looking for group accommodation? Call Porter's Place Guest House. Located at
37 Goodwill Road in Pottersville, upstairs ACS Supermarket. Enjoy our semi-self-contained rooms with private washroom, bathroom, Wi-Fi, air condition, cable network, mini refrigerator, all in a non-smoking environment. Call or WhatsApp at 1767-275-1899 or email us at info@pottersplaceguesthouse.com to make your reservations. Potter's Place, your home away from home. Fit for a king, a queen, and all their royal subjects. Dominica, it's game time. On or off the field, every goal, corner kick, every penalty. From cricket to football to netball to basketball, Del Natchez is Dominica's #1 and only all-star sports, all gear, all uniform, all access sports center. Get all your team and individual all sportswear, accessories, and fitness comfort apparel. Del Natchez got it all. From Nike to Lacoste to Puma, Adidas, Psycho Bunny, Levi's, football boots in all sizes, hoses, shin guards, goalkeeper gloves, sneakers for running, jogging, walking, climbing, hiking, or tracking, softball, cricket ball, sports trophies, and all sports gear and wear. Your sports dominance begins at Del Natchez. Oubliez jouer, sway, sauter, marcher, et duiver. Track pants, tops, shorts, sports bras. In all neutral or delicate fluorescent colored sports fabrics. Only at Del Natchez. Proud sponsor the Sports Wrap, interactive sports review, results, analysis, predictions, and sports commentary. Del Natchez, Arcade George 5th Street, lower down from Ace Shillingford Shopping Center.
Right, we are back. And first of all, I always want to thank Josephine Gabriel for providing us with Popita water. Del Natchez bookstore, they all sports store. They're always willing. They're the best in sneakers and t-shirts. Anytime you need that, you go there. And I've always said to people, the best prices in town. Also, ACS, we can't forget them. And in fact, Leroy worked at ACS for a long time. Leroy, who passed yesterday. Right. We're going to be talking football and World Cup football. And we have with us our guy from Jamaica, Leger Williams, who he predicted when we had him about a month ago, the 4 semi-finalists, and he was dead on target. And Leger, good night, man. Good night. What's up?
Yeah, hi, Mr. Sebastian. Thanks for having me once again.
And Dr. Fountain is there, and Low Black is there. Right. Right. But Leger, I know you're a football guy. And before we talk about the World Cup, I am sure you heard about the death of a world figure on the day after the World Cup, in fact, Kevin Keegan, former manager of Newcastle, former England manager as well. He was the European champ at the Ballon d'Or. He won it about twice. He played in Germany for Hamburg. I think they won the competition there. And he really was a world figure, right? Kevin Keegan. I'm sure you want to speak a little about Kevin Keegan.
Yeah, he's a legend of the game. Not only as a player, as you mentioned, winning the Ballon d'Or a couple of times, which is rare for an English player, but also, as a coach, he was very captivating, one might say, a little bit before my time, but he was so captivating that he's a coach that you would hear about a lot, especially in the 90s when he was clashing with Sir Alex Ferguson and Manchester United. So a legend of the game, and I'm very sorry to hear that he passed.
Yes, very, very sad. Right, Leger. Let's go straight to it. Do you think the best team won the World Cup?
Yeah, I think so. Everything that we saw from Spain throughout the World Cup indicated that they were the best team. Because, France, they were playing some good football, but I think that was pretty individualistic on their part. Their stars were carrying them through. I always had a few questions about their depth in certain areas and their midfield. And Spain, when they played France in the semi-final, it was all about midfield dominance. So I think Spain certainly were the best team and they deserve to win.
I know you're an Arsenal man. And I heard you because you were on the broadcast during the match when you spoke about your free Arsenal players in the Spain team, right? So that's why you're happy for Spain, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty happy. I think any team that had one out of the four semi-finalists I picked, I would have been quite pleased. Apart from Argentina, there's no Arsenal players over there. But yeah, England, I would have been pleased.
Because they have
Spain,
four. England have four players, right?
yeah,
It's
England
gonna
have
be
four
three black
players and
guys.
very important players as well. For
Right.
Spain, I would say that, because David Raya didn't play, and I can't really complain because Unai Simon won the Golden Glove. Merino, though, made a very big impact, scoring two pivotal goals. Should have scored as well in the final. And Zubimendi came on in extra time, and even though those were his first minutes, he acquitted himself quite well. So I'm quite pleased that, of course, Arsenal would have had an impact on the World Cup as well.
You looked at the entire World Cup. What is it that Spain did that the other teams didn't do?
I think it all comes down to philosophy. Everyone was speaking about their tactical approach, and that is a big part of it as well. But philosophy-wise, it's built from the ground up. Everything that they do, it's embedded in their players from a very young age. Even doing my research going into the final before that broadcast, I noted that Luis de la Fuente, Spain's coach, he was the coach of the under-21 team in 2019 that won the under-21 Euros, and that team included Mikel Oyarzabal up top, Dani Olmo at the 10, Fabian Ruiz was in the midfield of that team, Mikel Merino was on the bench of that team, and Unai Simon was also on the bench of that team. Those are 5 key players for this current Spain team. It's no coincidence when you look how they play, the trust that the coach has in certain players. It's no coincidence that they were successful tactically. I also think that they were brilliant. They kept it quite simple. A 4-3-3 approach. Obviously, you have your in-possession structures, your out-of-possession structures. But I just think philosophy-wise, they were a cut above the rest. And they showed that, especially in the modern game, your tactical approach. And when you couple that with your philosophy, you're always going to have a winner when you have the talent.
Sibo.
Go ahead.
Yes, I was listening to my friend about Spain. The question I'm a bit older with that young man there. What that surprised me in the World Cup, brother, is the level of physical play that was allowed. I was really shocked. That is physicality I saw during the time of Pele. When Pele played football, that physical, I was really surprised. Were you surprised at the amount of physical play at this World Cup?
I wouldn't say I was overly surprised. I don't think he was as physical as maybe in the 2000s, the challenges that we saw coming in. But one thing that's become a trend throughout all of, world football is tactical fouls. And that's something that the best teams use to get maybe break momentum or get themselves settled defensively. And it's no surprise that the 2 teams that committed the most fouls throughout the World Cup got to the final. I know everyone will harp on about Argentina, but Argentina, they're a smaller team compared to a lot, and they have to really throw their bodies around. So it's going to be more evident when they foul as opposed to Spain. But even in the World Cup final, 25 fouls for Argentina, 21 for Spain. Both teams are, I would say, very acquitted when it comes down to using the dark cards.
Let me tell you, I agree with you, but I still looking at what things were allowed. Much of it. At the end, players realized what was happening, and they just had to go along with the flow. I think Argentina, you said about your top 4, all right, as you predicted. But had the officiating good against Egypt, Argentina would have been out. Don't you think so? I see you laughing.
I mean, yes, I do think that there were dodgy calls in terms of the refereeing throughout the tournament. But that's been a constant throughout football since the start of time. There have been many great games, many moments throughout games and throughout history where you can say that the officiating really was the star of the show. You can think back to classic moments like the 1966 World Cup where England won through a ghost goal. Diego Maradona punched in a goal. I would call it the hand of God 40 years later. So it's something that's constant throughout football, and I guess they can say now in the age of VAR, those things should be eradicated. But at the end of the day, referees are people. They make their mistakes as well, and it's just a part of the game.
That's no, I don't agree with you, brother. We agree to agree. Because in time of Pele, the greatest of all, 1970, go back in 1970, I see, right, it has been said, the people that played with Pele, Europeans, and so on who played with Pele, in 1970 World Cup, Pele was fouled the amount of times Pele, against Italy, this final game. And Pele never laid down on the field and looking for a bed like some players are doing. He took his tackle. He's got 2 goals, 2 assists. He was the MVP almost 25 times. So I saw some nasty tackles, Look, Messi was given a carte blanche. All right, people, he was a nice boy. Referee again his favor. They could see that. Look, this World Cup, they tried to favor Messi. But I knew at the end, I was very happy that Spain won. And he didn't win anything.
Well, I mean, I know that you're a Brazil fan, so I can understand.
No. Besides Brazil fan, brother, I understand you. Besides Brazil fan, but go back global. If you look at social media to follow the World Cup, people were upset at what the referees were allowing when it came to Argentina, even Messi. People were upset about that.
I mean, social media always has something to say. I'm not one who gets involved often in terms of the narratives that are pushed across social media or across any sort of platform, because I know that football is a game of narratives. It's narratives that push everything. And I don't necessarily agree that they were favoring quote unquote Argentina, because Argentina were the team that was most carded in the World Cup. They committed the most fouls. Yes, obviously there's a correlation there, but as I mentioned earlier, Spain committed the second most fouls in the World Cup. They didn't get carded as much because I guess there's a little bit of nuance in and a little bit of, I would say that they did it in a cleaner way, one might say. But I certainly don't think that the referees on a whole or FIFA on a whole were trying to favor one team. We could spend a very long time talking about that because there's a lot of holes I could punch in it. But I think the best team won. Argentina, they did well to get even that far, because although I will take credit, as Mr. Sebastian said, I did get the 4 semi-finalists right. What I said immediately after that was that if Argentina were to get that far, it would be in spite of Messi and not because of him. I didn't realize the impact he would still be having on this Argentina team. So I think he was just, I'll have to disagree with you. I think he was just the best player who has ever lived, carrying his team to a point, and they couldn't get over the line against a better team.
Well, I just heard you say something there, but I remember sending you something yesterday about the comparison between Pele and Messi. You saw that, right? I'm sure you saw that. So these things, I don't even want to debate that, because it's like you hear people talking about, well, who was better between Richard and so was Lara? Who was better between LeBron James and Michael Jordan? And Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. So you have all that sort of talk. So let's not even go, because that will probably take all night if we're going to go into that. What I want to ask you, though, in terms of, you look at people like Lamine Yamal, Michael Olise. Obviously, Olise had, 6, 7 assists, but he didn't score a goal in the World Cup. And I thought he could have scored more goals. Lamine Yamal himself didn't score many goals. You had Jude Bellingham doing very well. So what is your view of individual players in terms of skill during this World Cup? Some of the players people thought would have done better in the World Cup.
Well, I'll answer both. I will say that for me, it's difficult to say who the best player of the World Cup was, because if we're looking at it from an objective lens, I think for up until maybe the round of 32, I would lean towards Olise. I think he was fantastic what he was doing from a creative sense. I think Mbappe took over the mantle as France went on through the competition, but we saw what Spain did to nullify both of those players. And when we speak about Spain, Rodri, I think, was excellent throughout the tournament. There's a big discussion now. You said we're not going to get into comparisons, but comparing Rodri to Busquets, who is the better player, I don't really want to get into that now either. But I think Mbappe was excellent. I think Bellingham, especially once the knockouts came around, was excellent. I think before the knockouts, Kane was as well. Messi was excellent. Laporte and Kubarsi played really good tournaments. And
Vinny, you don't mention Vinny.
I'm realizing that the Brazil is really jumping out of you at current. I think
Brazil. Doesn't matter of Brazil, brother. I'm looking at individual. He stands up all of them. He's great, all of them. Vinny.
I mean, Vinny was knocked out in the round of 16. Maybe he slipped my mind a bit, but he was pretty good in the knockout stage, in the group stages. Nullified, I would say, for the most part in that game against Norway. But yeah, Vinny, in my opinion, is the best left winger. I'm not going to say Mbappe is a left-sided attacker. Vinny is the best left winger in world football, and he played as such. But as I said before the tournament, Brazil aren't a very good team, and that's what played out.
You know, you just spoke about left wingers, but what I've noticed now, even in club football around the world, before you had genuine left wingers, people who kicked with their left foot. What you've noticed now is that guys like Vinny, as you know, is a right footer, but they pick guys who could go beat people on the inside and hit with the right foot, and that's what I've noticed now in world football. They know you don't have genuine left foot wingers playing world football now. What is your view about that?
Because, well, first of all, it's a formational change. It's the reason why that was so effective. I don't want to say back in the days. I don't want to offend you or any of your viewers, but it's a formational change. Typically, throughout history, we've had two striker systems, so especially, say, for instance, a 3-5-2 or a 4-4-2. Right. When you have a naturally left-footed player or right-footed player on the right-hand side, left-footed player on the left-hand side, it's because they want to get crosses into the box, which is much more feasible when you have your strong foot on either side. So a left-footed player going down the line, beating you down the line and putting a cross in, that was the modus operandi. Nowadays, the task of a winger, especially with one striker, you have to have, as I would say, a deeper bag. You have to be able to come inside. You still have to be able to go outside. You have to be able to combine centrally. You also have to be able to facilitate your fullback overlapping, because there's much more variety to the crosses. There's not only that deep whipping cross that we're used to seeing from maybe a Ryan Giggs back in the day or any fullbacks back in the day. It's also, you have to be able to do that clip cross from the half space, clip cross to the back post, a cross when you get to the byline and you cut it back to a penalty spot. So it's just because you need much more variety, but you have to still be able to go both ways. But I think that's why we've seen a decrease in strong-footed wingers on either side.
You know, Lejay, this year the World Cup was 48 teams. In fact, I'm sure you're hearing now the thinking of increasing it to 60 teams. A lot of teams, people feel a lot of the teams that played in the World Cup, some of them were not up to it because they felt the quality of some of the teams or the lack of quality in some of the teams. What do you think of him thinking of increasing it now to 60 teams down the road?
Okay, what I will say, I wasn't in favor of them increasing it in the first place. Mm-hmm. However, I thoroughly enjoyed this World Cup, and I think most of the teams that took part added something positively to it. Of course, there were bad teams, but if there wasn't a 48-team World Cup, we wouldn't have a team like Cape Verde competing so well, for example. You know, so I think that there are some teams that probably shouldn't have been there. But I think for the most part, most of the 48 teams added something positive. So even though I'm saying that I am not in favor of them moving it up to 64 teams or whatever it is, I will also say that I wasn't in favor of this, and it worked out well in my opinion. So, yeah.
Something else, brother, about the World Cup, right? I'm looking at soccer, where you had
Lobby, stop your nonsense about soccer. It's football, man. The whole world plays football. Come on. That's it. Come
on. Football, no matter how you look at it, soccer, football.
Not soccer.
And you're looking at this 2020 World Cup, and where you had the black players, for example. First time you saw an English team. English team is so almost 80% black players. European team doesn't ever happen. All right, it showed that the presence of black players once and for all is coming through because of migration, and was very happy to see that. Very happy.
Yeah, I mean, places like England, places like France, they're always going to have, or they always were going to have this explosion of black players because of their roots all over the world, especially in the case of France. France had, if I'm not mistaken, 99 players in the World Cup. 99, 99 players in the
99
world.
born players, right?
Yeah, were born in France, which is staggering all across the board. England, of course, we know their Caribbean roots for a lot of the players,
Well, they're
African
from
roots
your
for a lot of
country,
the players.
Jamaican roots. A lot of players from your country.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of Jamaican players with Jamaican roots as well. So it was always something that's going to happen. Obviously, us being Caribbean people, being black people, it's always something nice to see as well.
But coming back only on the football itself, I have a problem with in terms with VAR. I have a serious problem with VAR. I see a lot of people have the problem with VAR because you cannot be in a room. What's your role? Why must the referee have to every time have to go and review? He has to go and review. That VAR has a responsibility. You sit in an air-conditioned room with monitors in front of you. You see the game better even than the referee. Why must there's always, I have a problem with this. VAR, and they're being paid handsomely.
Well, I mean, because at the end of the day, even my frustration with it would be that I don't think the on-field referees are strong enough sometimes to stick with their decision, whether it's something that they see right or wrong. However, at the end of the day, VAR is there to provide the right decision. Right? And I think similarly, well, in cricket, it's a bit different when you have the DRS system. But when it comes down to VAR, all you can do is recommend the referee to go and have a second look. That's the role of VAR. It's not like DRS where it's something definitive, like an LBW, for example. A foul isn't something as definitive as that. It's down to the referee's interpretation. So there's always going to be an interesting line. And you being someone who I'm sure is a huge fan of cricket as well, I'm sure you want something decisive, but unfortunately, football can't be such a decisive sport.
No, I don't know. With by itself, because you're talking about review. There's so many. Messi against Cape Verde. He should have got a card right there, a red card. He should have gotten a card right there for something like that. Just smiling, and he was given so many things in the game itself, I'm telling that upset. But again, early on, I was happy that black people played a vital role, and most of the teams, except Argentina, most of the teams you look at had black players, except Argentina.
Yeah, that's true. They did play a very vital role.
Good.
Yes, Mr. Williams. One of the games I think that really stunned the whole World Cup, and probably one of the more spectacular results is Spain versus Cape Verde.
Yeah.
When you consider that the number, Cape Verde in terms of the ranking and the expectation, and being able to basically stay 2-2 with Spain for 90 minutes. I mean, what were your views on that particular game, and how it shaped even the response of Spain to the rest of the competition?
I mean, coming into the game, it was always going to be difficult. Football isn't played on paper. It's never been. Cape Verde, they came in with a plan. They came in to condense the spaces that Spain wanted to exploit. And coming up against a low block like that is always going to be extremely difficult to break down, especially when things don't break your way. Usually, when you're coming up against a team and there is a low block, especially if you don't score early, the game is going to get increasingly more difficult for you. And in this World Cup, the games were broken up into 4 segments. It wasn't 2 halves like what we're accustomed to. So if a team like Cape Verde or any other team that implemented a low block against a bigger nation got to these breaks and the scoreline was still in their favor, and in this case, still being level, it's even more impetus for them to dig in. And Cape Verde did a very good job tactically in terms of condensing space, because Spain always want to attack centrally first and then try to push the play out wide. And they didn't allow them to do anything centrally for the most part because of everything that they were doing in terms of blocking out the middle. And also they didn't have Lamine Yamal or Nico Williams in that game that could really exploit things out wide. So it was always going to be a tough ask, and it was an excellent result for Cape Verde, but I don't think it had too much bearing on how Spain approached the rest of the tournament, because it was always going to be rare that they would come up against a team that negative in the latter stages of the tournament.
Interesting. All right, let's talk a little bit about the semi-final game between England and Argentina. That game and the actions or the behavior of the coach in that game, Tuchel. He's come under a lot of criticism for the way he handled the game, even after England had gone up 1-0, and it seems that they were cruising almost up to the 85th minute. But what about the technique that was used by the coach in that particular game, and what did you think about the way the whole game was approached, given that they scored, relatively late in the game?
I think it's difficult. I rewatched that game. I'm going into the final, and what I will say is that I understand his thinking, but I don't understand his execution of what he thought. So it is difficult. It's always easy, not difficult. It's very easy to say once a coach does something and it doesn't work out that he did the wrong thing. It's always easy to say that in hindsight. However, against Mexico, a game before that, when England needed to see out a lead, he did go defensive. He did go 5 at the back. He went to that 5. Well, they had a red card, so call it a 5-3-1 system. And it worked in terms of blocking out the crossing chances, blocking out the lanes, and allowed England to get to the semi-final. However, in this game, rewatching the game, I don't think it was his particular instruction to immediately go negative as soon as England scored. They were still trying to press. They conceded some chances. And then it's just a natural player instinct for the team to sit back a bit. He reacted after the water break, the hydration break, brought on a 5th defender. Where I think he went wrong was the application of that 5th defender, because they went to a 5-3-2, which is a defensive system which is supposed to condense space and block out space centrally. However, Argentina brought on players which, when they were trying to overload in the wide areas, to put crosses in. And that's where the mistake was. Mistake number 2, and it's something that I saw on a rewatch of the game. Dan Burn was brought on, and I love the inclusion of Dan Burn in that Mexico game. And in the Norway game as well. He was winning headers. He's 6'6", 6'7". He's always going to be a nuisance in the box. However, Argentina were particularly overloading the right-hand side, meaning that their crosses are coming from the right-hand side. Dan Burn was instilled as the left centre-back in that back 3, meaning that when those crosses came in, everything would be going to the back post, going over Dan Burn's head, almost making it impossible for him to win the headers that he was brought on to win. England were not trying at that point to play any football, so they can't say that they want a left-footed centre-back on that side. I think he should have been instilled either on the right-hand side or in the middle of that back 3. And I think that's really what cost them in the end, because at the end of the day, it was a set piece that they conceded from that they didn't react to quickly enough. And then after that, once the momentum was shifted fully in the way of Argentina, it was always going to be difficult for them to hold out. But in all honesty, as someone who has a bit of coaching experience and is close to a lot of coaches, it's always easy from a spectator to say that they should have done this, they should have done that, and not being in the scenario. But at the end of the day as well, he's paid a lot of money to deliver these tactical intricacies. So it's difficult, but I do think that he made some mistakes for sure.
Do you think that's enough? Just a final question on this. Do you think that that's enough to cost them his
job?
I don't. All right, this is how I see it. Right, I like to study football. It's not only the tactical side of the game, but in terms of knowing how things are. And I'm a betting man. I don't bet anymore, but I'm a betting man, and because of that, you learn how to follow trends. Never has there been a nation where the coach is not from that nation and they've won the World Cup. It's never happened.
Well, no overseas. Put it easier. No overseas coach has won a World Cup. None.
No overseas coach has ever won a World Cup since 1930 until now. Do I think? Because I'm very high on Thomas Tuchel as a tactician. As a manager, maybe not, because he always falls out with whichever team he's at. But as a tactician, I think he's one of the very best in the world and someone I look to for inspiration. However, the proof is in the pudding. Do I think that he did a bad enough job to lose his job? No. But do I think he's the coach that's going to deliver England a major trophy? Also, no. I think that England is a nation that has one of the most sophisticated player development and coaching programs in the world. And I think they should start leaning on those local coaches a little bit more to deliver success instead of immediately always trying to look abroad.
Okay, now, brother, I'm hearing you on the coach and the game against Argentina. As a former player and a former coach, talking to you there. I think first of all, Saka and Rashford would have made a big difference in the game. There's certain things you have to look at. I was surprised that Saka never played the game. Rashford was there. Hadn't brought in those two players, it would have been a different game altogether. I couldn't understand how you could be backpedaling. I'm saying England is going to lose the game. England is going to lose the game. The keeper made two very good saves, two headers. I said they're going to lose the game. They just drop in. And I said no. But what do you think Spain did? Spain never gave them that thing. Spain kept on, attacking. That leeway, the leeway which Messi had on the wing, he never had that because Spain studied them. They look at the game. I'm sure they look at the game and they came in for plan and they can hold the ball. All right. I mean, look, Spain humiliated Argentina. They humiliated Argentina. Messi was tired. He was very, very tired. All right. And the coach must have been afraid to sub him. But there's nothing that can be done. They were humiliated to the core against Spain.
Go ahead, Ledger.
Well, I mean, to answer your first point, Saka, I'm wearing the jersey. Saka is a player, of course, that I admire a lot. But based on everything we're hearing, based on everything we know going into the World Cup, going into the game, everything we've heard after the game as well, he's been carrying a knock. And I know you might say, he played in the third place game, scored a hat-trick. But based on my understanding, David Ornstein, a reputable UK reporter, said that Saka wasn't in a position to play 2 games a week, 2 games of that magnitude within a week. So the plan, whether right or wrong, was to rest him for the semi and have him ready for the final. I said whether right or wrong, I'm not saying I completely agree with that. But Rashford, I don't think would have been a good substitute because of the game state at that point. Rashford isn't necessarily a good winger in terms of tracking back and doubling up on your fullback. So I don't think that would have been a good change. But I do think that England had enough attacking options on the bench instead of going fully defensive and subbing on another centre back. I think they could have stayed at around 15 minutes more in their original shape, and I think that would have been enough to hold out Argentina up until that point. In terms of Spain humiliating Argentina, they definitely did. They definitely were the better team tactically. Everything that they wanted to do, especially out of possession, they didn't allow Argentina to build up effectively. They set a trap for Argentina when they were building up, not allowing them to progress, especially down the right-hand side. So Messi, not only could he not receive the ball in the pockets where he wants to, but even when he drifts out wide, he worse couldn't receive the ball there. And even if he did drop deep to receive the ball, there aren't going to be any runners to hurt Spain in behind because Argentina don't have any runners to hurt Spain in behind. So tactically, it was a flawless performance by Spain, and they definitely did, I would say, dominate. And I guess you can say humiliated Argentina.
Yeah. Well, first time in a World Cup final that one team never had a shot on goal. Argentina. In fact, somebody said that the Spain goal should have been eating his snacks while the game was going on because there was no shot on goal from Argentina, not one.
Yeah,
but go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying that a lot of people always say that the bedrock of Spanish teams is how well they keep the ball and how well they can attack. But the bedrock of Spanish teams has always been how well they can defend. And they just do that in a different way as opposed to what we're used to seeing in terms of, a lot of clearances and a lot of box defending and whatever it is, they just do it in a much different way. They do it by keeping the ball, they do it by pressing high, and they do it by denying you spaces that you want to attack. And they also do it by fouling you a lot. But they do it they do it in a very unique way. And I think it's about time now, because we've seen it in 2 World Cups now that they've won, where they've been by far the best defensive team in the competition.
Do you think that this team was better than the 2010 team with people like Xavi, Iniesta, and all these guys? Do you think that team was better?
No, absolutely not. The individual talent in 2010 laps this current team. But what I will say, obviously, the game has progressed 16 years later. I think this team tactically is better than the 2010 team.
Okay, let's take this call off. Maybe for you. Good evening.
Yes, Sibo, good evening.
Good evening.
I have a question to your guest. He said he don't think the tournament was organized anyway to favor Argentina. I want to ask him, how can he explain that Argentina never played any of the top 15 teams in the world prior to the knockout stage? Can he explain that?
Well, I mean, the World Cup is pre-drawn. There's also the fact that Argentina would have played some of the top 15 teams had the top 15 teams that they were supposed to play, like the Colombia, like Portugal, had they handled their business. So it's not always down to Argentina. They did their job, top their group. If Portugal had topped their group, they would have faced off against Portugal in the quarterfinal. If Colombia had beaten Switzerland, they would have played against Switzerland. So a big part of the reason why Argentina didn't play some of these big teams is because the other big teams that you would have expected them to play off against, like Uruguay, who didn't get out of the group stage, that's why they had to play Cabo Verde, like Colombia, like Portugal, didn't handle their business. It's the same reason why France had to play Paraguay instead of playing Germany, because Germany couldn't handle their business. So it's just the luck of the draw. And I would like to also say that all right, this is how I see it. I'm not going to say that football is bereft of corruption. I'll never say that, because we've seen corruption in many forms throughout the history of football. However, the reason for corruption, this extends beyond football, is because of money, right? I'm now going to pose the question to the viewers, pose the question to all of you guys. If this World Cup was rigged for Argentina to do well, they're placed on the same side of the bracket in a crash course to face off against Portugal. That is the biggest money game probably in the history of football, all things considered, because of Cristiano Ronaldo final World Cup, Messi final World Cup, in the United States, all the money that the World Cup was making. So if FIFA were rigging the World Cup to provide the highest entertainment and provide the best players, including Argentina and Messi, to get that far, why didn't they rig it for Portugal to get through? Now, if your answer is that they were rigging it for Portugal to get through, then I have something else to say to you. That means that your favorite player, because a lot of the people that are saying that the World Cup is rigged, they're either Brazilian fans, I'm sorry to you, my friend, or they're Cristiano Ronaldo fans. So it's either you're saying that the World Cup was rigged and Ronaldo wasn't good enough to take his team past, even though it was rigged in his favor, or you're saying that it's not rigged. You really have to choose a side. I don't think the World Cup was rigged, personally. That's my opinion on things. Okay. But if people want to put on their tinfoil hat, then I'll allow you to do so, I guess.
First thing is this: you're talking about rigged. Look at the first thing, the red card, which we never looked at. What happened there with the American getting the red card? And here you have the president of FIFA going ahead, all right, and agreeing, and England didn't get the same favor. How you look at that?
Well, I mean, if there was anything that there is some obvious corruption and obvious favoritism being deployed, that would be it. I don't agree with that decision. I was informed before the World Cup that there isn't a clear disciplinary committee, so it was very strange to hear that the disciplinary committee said that the decisions should be overruled. But in all honesty, that's the only thing that I can say was overly controversial, something that is unprecedented, something that we've never seen before. As I said before, I'm a historian. I'm a historian of the game. I'm someone who has watched. Yes, I was born in '98. Yes, the first World Cup I was cognizant of watching was in 2006. I've gone back to watch several. I've watched the '02 World Cup in its entirety. 98, 94, 1990, 86. I've watched games from practically every World Cup where there's footage for. I've been watching football for 20 years. Even at club level, there are dubious calls all over the world. And I just find it very hilarious when there are supporters of teams like Real Madrid, supporters of teams like Manchester United, supporters of teams like the Italian teams and Juventus, the supporters of teams like Barcelona, and they're now for this 1 month tournament you're complaining about corruption and things being rigged and things going in favor of other teams. Where was this self-awareness, or what happened to this self-awareness when you're watching your team defraud smaller teams throughout the years? I find it quite funny that people would call for corruption now against this Argentina team when you watch all of those club teams that you probably support one of them do all of those dubious things throughout the years. You just celebrate it and move on. So I just choose to avoid all of those stuff.
Are you a fan of Messi or Argentina? They're listening to you. You're listening like, are you a fan because you're team on Brazil? But I'm looking at the game objectively, brother, in terms of rigged. What we saw there, first of all, what we saw, the people had in terms of coming to the conclusion that favoritism was there. As far as I'm concerned, they would have been happy if Argentina had won this World Cup to crown Messi as the greatest. And I say no more on that.
Right. Okay. Leche, it's no coincidence that 3 of the 4 final teams, they have the best in the world. You have Spain, you have England, France. The best football leagues are in the 3 countries, right?
You can say that.
Yes. I mean, in which order would you go? In which order you'd go in the 3? I mean, would you go to England first?
Yeah, I would say the Premier League is definitely the best league in the world. La Liga is second. It's a toss up for everything else for me.
Yeah, sure.
But you know, the Real Madrid is arguably the biggest club in the world, probably Manchester United the second, and there was no player from Real Madrid in the Spain team, not one.
Yeah,
arguably the most powerful club team in the world.
Yeah, I think it's indicative because they always try to go for their Galactico approach. They sign the best players from all over the world, and that's how they've been successful. They haven't had much success throughout the past couple of years, going trophyless, I believe, for the past 2 years. But their stars still came to the fore in the World Cup. Mbappe, Jude, Vinny. Real Madrid actually had the most goals in the World Cup from their players. So, I guess they can say it's a success.
And Michael Olise, I'm sure you hear he wants to go to Real Madrid, right? I'm sure you hear that.
Yeah, heavily linked. I think that would be an interesting signing for them. Would that solve all of their issues? I don't think so, but it's going to be an interesting club season is what
you're right. Your club might be short of some players for the start of the Premier League next month. I mean, you look at Saliba, you don't know when he's going to start. Declan Rice is as well. So some of the players might not be ready for the start of the Premier League, eh?
Yeah, I mean, I already came to terms with Saliba even before he came out of the semi-final. It was reported that he would need surgery. They're saying that he's not going to do the surgery, but he will be out for 3 to 4 months. Declan Rice has played an exorbitant amount of football for this past season. He's actually played more minutes himself than Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester United have as a club. He's outplayed them in terms of the minutes. So that's not good. He'll need some rest. Saka also will need some rest. So it's going to be quite important for Arsenal to batten down the hatches and get some quality through the door so they can keep up their Premier League push and try and win another title.
Question for you. Yes. Looking at Caribbean football, you're involved in coaching, you said coaching. We have just looked at the World Cup. I'm talking, first of all, you're looking at what you have seen with the work on football, the emergence of football, and players have, first of all, the game is quicker than before. You can't have any player going and play that is slow. You need speed, you need the endurance. And the technical approach. What you think, for example, like your team, Jamaica, have to improve on Trinidad the Islands in the English speaking island. What we have to improve on to take our game to the next level. Look at Jamaica, your country.
I mean, that's a difficult question. I just think that in all of those countries, the governing bodies need to take football a little bit more seriously. There needs to be more investment from a younger age. All of these teams that dominate football, even the smaller team that you see coming up, teams like, say for instance, they didn't do excellently, but say a team like Ecuador, they have one of the best academies in world football. Cape Verde, they're together in terms of how they want to develop their football. It didn't just come overnight, their success. It's been a process of them building and building from the ground up. Jamaica and a lot of the other nations in the Caribbean need to invest in that. Here in Jamaica, there's only one center for football development. Everything is played at the Captain Horace Burrell Center. So I think there just needs to be more investment at all levels in terms of getting better fields, getting more accessibility, and most importantly, in my opinion, allowing or fostering development for coaches as well. Because if you have better coaches all throughout your country from a grassroots level, you will definitely see a greater number of players being exported and developed and eventually being good enough to play for your country as well.
Should your best coaches, the best coaches be attached to the youth teams?
Should the best coaches being attached? I don't think so. I think there are different skill sets that are required for coaches to be a good youth coach and to be a good senior coach. So it's difficult to say the best coaches, but not every coach is able to coach well at senior level and at youth level. There are certain things that you need. I'm sure you guys would know someone like Neville Bell, for example, who is a very popular coach here in Jamaica. He's now putting it down, focusing on the media, but he has been a coach that has fostered so many talents at high school level and at youth level, but at senior level, he's not someone that was ever seen as someone who could take Jamaica forward. So not every coach is someone who is able to translate what they do well at youth level to senior level. So it's just all about finding that balance, in my opinion.
Right. Okay, Leje, on that note, I just want to say thanks to you, as usual, for giving us all the information. I'll be in touch with you. The Football League starts next month, so now and then we'll have you to comment on the Premier League. I don't think Arsenal is going to win it this year because a lot of injuries and a lot of teams, Manchester United, are piling up a lot of good players. So I just want to say thank you very much to you.
Mr. Sebastian, you said that before the start of last season too, so I have to take it with a grain of salt.
Anyway, thank you, and say good night to Lester Lance for me, please. Tell him say hi to Lester Lance.
I will, of course.
Okay. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Right. Guys, all right. Thank you, Leje. Let us take that caller quickly because we have to talk about cricket. Yeah.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
This year we didn't see a black guy on the Argentine team, but I think next World Cup we might end up seeing a black one there. He wouldn't be born in Argentina, but of Haitian parentage. You know that?
No, we don't know.
There's a young Haitian guy.
Under 17.
But adopted by Argentine's parentage. And he's now playing for a club in Argentina.
Oh, yeah?
So pretty soon, we might see him on the only black man that will be on the Argentina team next World Cup. Have a good night, gentlemen.
Thank you. Guys, the Dominican team is leaving tomorrow, but I just want to say something to you, Dr. Fountain and Lobby. Gary Sobers died, one of a world figure, one of the greatest cricketers of all time. We heard the Prime Minister of Antigua made a statement. The Prime Minister of St. Lucia made a statement. The Minister in Jamaica made a statement. The one from Barbados made a statement. We heard from Guyana as well. We heard from Trinidad. In fact, I heard Keith Mitchell, former Prime Minister, and Ralph Gonzalez making statements. We've heard nothing from Dominica about Sir Garfield Sobers. In fact, the president of the Labour Party He's a former vice president of Cricket West Indies. And Gary Sobert was a world figure and nothing at all. Every other country, just in the Caribbean, made statements or expressed condolences about Sir Gary. We heard all around the world. We have heard nothing coming out of Dominica. It is just a shame. The Dominica, we have a caller? Yeah, good. The caller gone. Right. The Dominica team leaves tomorrow for Grenada. I'll just call the Dominica team for you. It's Stephen Pascal, the captain, Justin Alexander, the vice captain, Alec Afanaz, Gillian Tyson, the senior fountain, Gian Benjamin, Kyron Phillip, Jed Joseph, Luvia Charles, Joel Durant, Micah Joseph, Tyreek LeBlanc, Jason Vidal, that's the name the father gave him the Jason, like Ja. That's Jason, right? So that's why it's Jason Vidal is his name. Edmond Morancy and Sherlon George. The tournament starts with a 3-day game on Sunday. Dominica will play St. Lucia, and that's Red Ball, by the way, and Grenada play St. Vincent. And then from next week, Wednesday, you have Super 50. Dominica plays Grenada, St. Lucia plays St. Vincent. On the 31st, Grenada will play St. Vincent, Dominica will play St. Lucia. And on the 2nd of August, Grenada will play St. Lucia, St. Vincent will play Dominica, and then you have a final on the 3rd of August. So that's what it is. The tournament starts in Grenada on Sunday. The Dominica team leaves tomorrow. Let's take this caller. Good evening. Yeah, so, hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening, Sibo.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lobby and Dr. Franklin.
Hey, Mr. Dublin, how are you?
I missed the last Finley. I wanted to ask what kind of training regime they had before in preparation before matches, but I figure he gone. But I think one thing to maybe highlight the greatness of Sobers would be to organize a series of lectures throughout the Caribbean. Maybe CARICOM on the local cricket associations could maybe come together and do some kind of series of lectures. There are videos all around the place highlighting Sobers' greatness. Bring that to the schools, the colleges, the universities, so that people can be acquainted with what is happening. But I'm sure a lot of young people do not know anything about Sobers.
Well, some of the players might know. Some of the current players might know. Yeah, you know, somebody just said an excerpt of the Prime Minister's speech was played on DBS sports program with Jabon last night. Somebody said, I didn't hear it, so I don't know if Jabon has a sports program. I didn't know that. So somebody said something must have been said on Jabon's sports program with Jabon last night. Wow, I didn't know that. Jabon had a sports program. So
the man is Delvin Esprit.
Well, I know Jabon's everywhere, but somebody saying the Prime Minister must have said something last night on his program. That's what the person is saying. An excerpt of his speech was played on Jabon's program last night. That's what he said. The West Indies.
Joshua Bishop.
Right. No, that's a good point. I was just coming to that. Joshua Bishop has been included in the squad. Joshua Bishop can bat. In fact, he scored first class 100. He scored for Barbados. And he's doing the same thing Warwican is doing. But yet still you have Warwican named as the vice captain. So I don't understand what they're doing. Because Joshua Bishop, I think his selection is merited. He's done well the last 2 years for Barbados, ball and bat. And he can bat. He's a person that can bat 7, 8, somewhere around there, and can bowl. He spins the ball. So I do not understand the logic in putting Warwican as the vice captain.
Yeah.
Because if you have Bishop there, to me, the mere fact they pick Bishop is obviously sending a message. Because he does the same thing like Warwican bowling left-arm spin. So why would you have Warwican as the vice captain?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
And a recall
who's opening?
Say that, Lobby?
Who is opening?
Well, they have two openers there. You have Mackenzie, the young boy, have been brought back.
Shanda
you have
Paul.
Shanda Paul there and King, Brendan King. You asked about De Silva?
Yes.
I don't think they'll pick De Silva. By the way, he scored a dog. He got out for a duck in the match against Pakistan.
But
I don't think they're going to.
He's back on the squad. So
He was all of them in the squad. against Bank. Yeah, he was on the squad. After he was dropped, he was on the squad. Yeah, for the second test. He was. In fact, you didn't see him with his bead doing after that. The second test, he was there.
Oh, you were okay.
Yeah, he was there. He's on the 15-man squad, but I don't see him playing. They're not sure if the captain will be fit enough. They're not sure about that one. Maybe that's why they have Bishop there, Ruston Chase. Yeah, but Shonda Paul is in there. Alzari is not in the team. They say he's not injured.
Shama is not in the team either.
No, Shama is in the team.
Shama is in the team?
Yeah, Shama Joseph is there.
Oh, yeah,
Shama is in the team.
Yes.
Roach is in the team.
Roach is back.
Seals is in the team.
Kemu Paul.
Yes, yeah. So we don't know why they say. All they say is Alzari Joseph is not injured, but he's out for personal reasons. That's what has been said. That's all. That's all the information you get. You never get proper information from the board.
So Sibu, talking about West Indies in the same vein, what did you make of the recent series against New Zealand?
Well, the thing is that it shows every time we have to bat first, we just don't know what to do. And you know,
no, but we won the toss twice.
Yes.
The first game and the last game, and we won both games.
Well, right, because we batted second. But when you look at it now, it appears that West Indies have to go and qualify now.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been a good opportunity for them.
So West Indies now have to go and qualify again for next year's World Cup, which is the third World Cup in a row. We didn't get through in one of the qualifying. So West Indies now have to go and qualify for the next World Cup in Namibia and South Africa next year.
But I guess there is a bright spark in all of that. I think the bowling seems to be getting it together. Because, I mean, if you look at the bowling, they kept the highest score was actually in the last game, I believe, but they kept, and now with Vital Laws and so on.
Well, I think he's a guy that should be encouraged, Laws, because that's such type of bowling is very rare in world cricket.
Actually, they've taken him on something already. He's gotten a contract to replace one of these
in a T20.
Yes.
Well, that is why they have to be careful with that. These young fellas must go and learn the cricket first before you have them in 20. It's like Ogis. Ogis has never made a big score in either thing, and he's playing for West Indies. He's getting starts.
I somehow feel that it's going to come good. I mean, something about his batting style.
But I heard Bishop saying on Tuesday night that he needs to learn. Obviously, he has to learn at his age. He has to learn the cricket. You have to know when is it. I mean, when you get to 30, now you tend to buckle down and try to get to 50, and then you take it from there. Because if you look at how he got bowled, his bat was way away from his body. He was never in behind the ball. So anything coming back would have bowled him. He just wasn't, because again, the young guy, you have a good crowd, hitting some shot, everybody excited. So you feel you can hit every ball. But as we come to the end of the program, Dr. Fontaine, you have something to tell listeners on Workers' Voice, what happened in the court today. So I'm sure everybody will be listening to this Workers' Voice, because there's puppy show going in the court system where a judge decides something and the magistrate is doing something else. Like, in other words, the magistrate thinks he's bigger than the judge. So listen to this Workers' Voice and Dr. Fontaine will explain to you. Let's take this last caller. Good night. Hello.
Okay, let's quickly go.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening.
Yes.
Ibo. Dr. Fontaine.
Mm-hmm.
And Nubi.
Okay.
I just called to Flowan and Sibu.
Mm-hmm.
Sibu,
Mm-hmm.
I understood Dr. Fontaine have something up his sleeve. But when I heard it, I heard up his sleeve in call for Colio. But my sources tell me he's keeping it close to his chest because a former open batsman he have. But the person doesn't look like it's you.
Go ahead, I'm listening to you.
So I hope he's going to let go.
No, well, let me tell you straight. I will never be a politician. I can't be a politician. I'll tell you honestly, I can't be a politician. So you need to tell me that. Look, I see what I said, can't be a politician.
I just pulling your leg, man.
Okay, yes. Right. So Dr. Fong, on that note, we're going to end. Dr. Fong said, and it's really something, Dominica, when a magistrate can decide he's bigger than the judge, the High Court is always the biggest court, and I don't understand that. So Dr. Fountain, I've been listening to that. I really want to know what happened today in the court, where magistrate deciding is bigger than the court. Right? So on behalf of Dr. Fountain, Emmanuel Loblack, we want to say good night to everybody. Test cricket is on Saturday in Trinidad, West Indies against Pakistan, 10 a.m. Saturday morning. Good night, everybody.